You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Welcome to episode 231 of the Soul Forge podcast.
Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soul Forge.
Hey everybody, welcome to one of the final shows of 2021. Another year that we are glad to be almost through, I'll betcha. So what are we talking about this week? Well, there's a few different topics. I actually did have a major topic that I wanted to discuss and share with you, I guess. But as I started researching it, it's way more involved and complicated than I expected it was going to be. Well, actually, I think I kind of knew it was going to be involved and complicated and complex and full of history and all kinds of stuff. So I will touch on it a little bit here and there, but there's no way that I can really cover it in depth in 20-25 minutes. So I won't try because I don't want to shortchange you and I don't want to do the topic an injustice, so to speak. So where are we in the world? It is, let's see, today is December 14th. I think this comes out on the 16th of December. And so that means there's basically 2 weeks left of the year. Next year's 2022. How exciting is that? Doesn't that sound futuristic? So what's happening with COVID? Nothing good. Now we've got Omicron the last month or so, and they're talking about a 4th and 5th and 6th booster shot. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. I've only got my 2. I think I'm eligible for a 3rd shot in January. I don't know if I'm going to get it. I don't know anymore. I'm so worn out and exhausted that I don't know whether I'm coming or going half the time. So last week at work, I came back to work after being off for a week, and I guess that my dissatisfaction with work is showing because I had 2 meetings with the supervisor about my conduct, I guess you could say. One of them was basically I lost the PDT or scanner that we used to scan our parcels. It was the Monday after the holiday, and it was a brutal day and full of snow, and it was hard to walk, and that was the day I worked the full 8 hours. I did again this past Monday as well, actually, but it's December at the post office, so you're going to be working long hours. But I guess the scanner fell out of the pocket on my mailbag, and I retraced my steps 2 or 3 times, and I couldn't find it because it was snowing like crazy that day, and maybe I shouldn't have been walking through people's yards, but I needed to make my path, so that's what I did. So anyway, those things are worth about $3,000, and I lost it. So maybe we'll find it in the spring. Who knows if it'll still be working. So yeah, that I got a letter on my file for that because oopsie. What else is going on? There's no barking dogs yet, and it's obviously not a Soul Forge without a barking dog, so that'll come up soon. The puppies are just over a week old. Like I said last week, Daisy gave birth to 8 little puppies, 2 girls and 2 girls and 6 boys, and they're growing like crazy. They're not walking yet, but they're still swimming around their little pool, and they're almost on their legs. Their eyes are still closed, and they still make lots of squeaky sounds. They're super, super cute, and Julie said she wishes she had a big enough house so that she could keep them all. That would be a lot, since we already had Daisy and Nimoy, and then these 8. Who needs 10 dogs? I don't think I do. I think I would go crazy. So what else is happening? Remember last week I was talking about how we'd had I think it was 48 centimeters of snow, and so far in 3 weeks. And last year we had 60 centimeters altogether. Well, we've reached past 60 because this past Saturday it must have snowed 8 or 10 inches. It was nuts. I haven't seen the roads like this in, I don't know if I've ever seen it quite this bad here in town. But yeah, it's a lot. I must have shoveled and snowblowed 3 times, plus the snowplow came by and did our driveway. So it's a lot. And is it fun walking with the mail? No, it's not. Because I don't know who designed the holiday season to be full of snow and cold, but it's Christmas time coming up, and everybody's ordering parcels online, and they're heavy, and we're getting lots of Christmas flyers, and it's just exhausting. And today we got phone books to deliver for tomorrow and the rest of the week. Who uses a phone book anymore? I was talking to the coworkers, and nobody was impressed. None of us can even recall the last time we used a phone book. And they're about 10% the size that they used to be, because back in the day, before the internet, everybody had a phone book and a landline and all that stuff, and hardly anybody does anymore. Nobody uses a phone book. They all use, the internet or whatever. So I'm sore, I'm tired, it's hard to walk, and I'm just really complainy. I think I'm tired because the dog, Daisy, keeps getting up in the middle of the night to go pee, and once I'm awake, it's very rare that I can fall back to sleep. So I'm not getting a lot of sleep. The mail is really heavy. It's hard to walk, and I want to move to Tahiti and open up a little bar on the beach somewhere. Maybe not Tahiti because of global warming and it's going to be underwater, and not to mention the fact I don't know where Tahiti is, but you know what I mean. I just want to do something different. I was thinking that maybe I could just be a full-time online Etsy reseller. I just need to get more stuff. But the problem with that is that there aren't enough thrift stores here in town, because what I do is sometimes I'll watch YouTube videos about people who are full-time online resellers, and they can hit 8 or 10 thrift stores like Value Village or Savers or Goodwill or whatever within like an hour of them. And we have one here, just one. And the nearest town away is 3 hours. So that is not conducive. So being here in the middle of northern Ontario, nowhere, is not conducive to retiring from the post office and just selling online all day. Although that is very appealing. But hey, I've only got 15 more years until I can retire. So woohoo, I can do it, right? What else is going on? You know what? Before I forget, let's play a promo for another podcast right here on the ESO Network.
Tired of the same old movie podcasts?
Yeah.
What if I told you there's a podcast that gabs about good and bad movies?
Why are you spreading such lies?
It's true, you rascal. Every week, Double Edge Double Bill mixes that scrumptious taste of good movies with the sour flavor of a bad one.
That sounds tasty.
Well, don't delay. Stuff it down your ear throats today. Double Edge Double Bill is part of the Balance ESO Network breakfast. Can be found wherever you download podcasts.
And wasn't that a great promo? I hope it was, because I don't know what I put in there, because I haven't put it in there yet, and haven't edited yet. That's tomorrow's job. Here's something that's coming up. You've heard Jeremy from the Fandom Squad podcast on a previous episode of Soul Forge, and he has recruited me, hired me, elicited my help. I don't know what it is, but he wants me to start recording for either his show, or he might be starting a network too. I'm not sure of the details on this, but a weekly pop culture news segment like I used to do for 7 years on the Rusted Robot podcast. What I used to say was, now it's time for your Weekly Geekly update, and that's what we're going to call it. It's the Weekly Geekly, and actually, he sent me a little promo for it, and I'll play that here too.
Breaking news, the world's on fire. How about yours? Whoa. Wait, that's not right here. Hi, the Fandom Squad podcast is bringing you a new mini-series called Weekly Geekly, where your host, Sean Vanderloo, will bring you all your pop culture news, celebrity deaths, movie, trailers, TV show reviews, and much more. Coming 2022.
And there you go. So that's I don't know. I haven't done any pop culture podcasting for almost a year now, so that's going to be something else to get back into. The only thing I do here is this one, and I'm actually running out of ideas. It's really difficult because more than 230 shows, and what else is there to talk about? I'm not sure, but going to keep trying to go. Also do Cosmic Pizza and the Epsilon 3 podcasts with Dan and Paul from the UK, so that's great. What else is going on? Let me see here. Talked about the puppies, talked about the snow, talked about the mail. Oh, speaking of pop culture and stuff, I finally, after a year and a half or so, finished season 1 of The Witcher on Netflix. I only had 2 episodes to go, and I finally did it. I wanted to love the show, but it was so hard to get into for some reason. But the last 2 episodes were pretty good, and I watched them back to back, so that was good. Turns out, I think I kind of like sword and sorcery kind of medieval type shows. Like, The Witcher is hit and miss, but The Wheel of Time is great. I've seen all 6 episodes so far. That's awesome. And of course, the classic Lord of the Rings and that kind of thing. So that's good. Oh, I saw the first 3 episodes of Hawkeye on Disney Plus, and I watched those back to back to back, and I would have watched the 4th one too, but company came over, and so I had to pause that. But that seems to be really good as well. Not medieval or anything like that, but it's still great. Oh, the final season of Lost in Space came out on Netflix, which I still have to get to. Another season of Another Life on Netflix came out a bunch of weeks ago, and I've seen 1 episode. It's hard to find time to devote myself to some pop culture entertainment, especially when I'm so tired and don't feel like doing anything. But yeah, watching a lot of 90 Day Fiancé with Julie, because that's what she loves, and so that's what we do, basically. Are any of you out there in podcast land watching this season's 90 Day Fiancé? What do you think of Caleb and Alina? Do you think they'll be a good match? I don't know. That's the couple that I'll be following this year, or this season, or whatever it is. Yeah. Anyway, what else? I have 101 sales on Etsy now. I just, after this recording, I have to pack up an Iron Man figure that I'm shipping out to somewhere in the USA. And yeah, so that's good. But the main topic that I wanted to discuss this week was woke culture. Because you hear that all the time. Are you woke? And stay woke and all that stuff. And so I decided to Google it, basically, and see what it actually meant. And it turns out, I'm just going to read this here from Wikipedia. It says, woke is an adjective meaning alert to racial prejudice and discrimination that originated in African American Vernacular English, or AAVE. Beginning in the 2010s, it came to encompass a broader awareness of social inequalities such as sexism, and has also been used as shorthand for left-wing ideas involving identity politics and social justice, such as the notion of white privilege and slavery reparations for African Americans. I kind of knew that stuff, but what I didn't know is actually how long the phrase has been around for. So the phrase "stay woke" had originated in AAVE, or African American Vernacular English, by the 1930s, in some contexts referring to an awareness of the social and political issues affecting African Americans. It's been around for almost 100 years. Of course, racism and social inequality and all that stuff has been around for a lot longer than that. But what I wanted to do was do an overview of it, but there's too many ins and outs and what have yous to really, like I said, do it any kind of justice. But how does it affect us in our regular everyday lives? Am I middle-aged? I don't know. I don't like that term, but I guess I might be. I'm a 45-year-old white guy from Canada, and I've been trying to think about all of this stuff. Now, it says it's all about social inequality and stuff, and I was thinking about that over my own life. I can't say that I was ever racist per se, but I was around racism. Like, for example, my grandfather was born in 1929, and he used the N-word regularly, but not actually to refer to people that he knew, I guess. I don't know if he saw it as a funny word or more of a joke or whatever. I'm not going to say the N-word. I will say Tigger instead, just to have an example. So I used to call him my Bumpa because they tried to get me to call him Grumpy, and it came out as Bumpa to my little kid brain. So anyway, I when I talk to him, I say, "Hey, guess what, Bumpa?" And he'd say, "What? You're a Tigger and I'm not?" And I never actually knew what that meant. And of course, Brazil nuts were Tigger toes and all that kind of stuff. When I was a kid in the 1980s, and there'd be a fight in the schoolyard, there was no black kids around. It was all white kids, but they'd always say, "Fight, fight, a Tigger and a white," and of course not. They wouldn't use the word Tigger, but you know what I mean. And so it was always around, and then it kind of phased out. But I remember I watched all kinds of TV shows featuring black characters back in the day, like Good Times and the Jeffersons and Sanford and Son and all that stuff. And I never thought anything of it. They were just TV shows. So even though my grandfather used those bad words and there was bad words in the schoolyard and stuff, I watched the shows and I never thought anything of it. When I was in school and they would talk about the inequality of the sexes and how women were always treated like second-class citizens and they didn't have the right to vote, and women authors had to use male names or just their initials so that they'd be taken seriously and stuff, and I always thought that was horrible and not a good thing, obviously. So I guess I've always been for equality because it just made sense to me. So with the Black Lives Matter movement and all these different things, I'm like, you know what? Humanity just needs to get their act together, because that's really enough now. It's exhausting. All the political infighting in the U.S., all the Taliban stuff over there, like just everything is so friggin' exhausting. It makes me think that Thanos was right sometimes when he, in the Marvel movie there, wiped out half of the population of the universe. Maybe that would be a good thing. Maybe we need to have a clean slate, a good Noah's flood just to wipe us all out and restart again. I don't know what the answer is. I know I'm tired of it. I just want life to be fair for everybody. It's not fair, and I know that, and it can't be, but it could be easier for people. Like, why do you have to discriminate against anybody? It doesn't make any sense. One of the things that used to be discriminated against a lot, and I think we had a special needs class at the school I was at in grade 3 and 4, and the kids used to say, "Oh, that's the retard class," and even then, I knew that wasn't a good thing to say. You don't say that, but that's what they were. And there was, the typical bad kids, and they would pick mud up off the ground and make these special needs kids eat it because they said, "Oh, it's chocolate. You'll like it." And I knew that was awful, and I never participated in any of that stuff. Of course, I didn't stop it either, but I should have, but I was just a weak little kid who always got made fun of myself. So I was just happy when it wasn't me being beat up or made fun of or whatever. So all this to say that basically there's a lot of injustice in the world, and we just need to do our part to make it a better place for everybody, make it easier. And I don't know. Maybe one day, if we can get our act together, we can have the Star Trek future and get rid of money and inequality, and just everybody can be happy and do what they want. And I think it's okay to do what you want as long as you don't hurt anybody else. So that's my view from over here. Hopefully that made some sense. I'm really running out of topic ideas. I don't know if I should start doing the Soul Forge every 2 weeks instead of weekly. I'm not sure. soulforgepodcast@gmail.com if you have any ideas for topics, or you want to be a guest on the show. Anything would really, really help me out. I'm just friggin' exhausted, you guys and girls out there in podcast land. I could use your help just a little bit. I don't know if I should take maybe a hiatus for a month or two just to recover my... I don't even know what. I'm just exhausted. Mentally, physically, emotionally, all the things. Anyway, I hope I didn't bring you down. But go watch Hawkeye. Season 2 of The Witcher should be out soon. There's all kinds of good stuff. Read any good books lately? If you have a book review, send me a little email and I'll read it on the air and talk about that. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed whatever this episode was. I'm not even sure right now. But all of you out there in podcast land, take care of each other and take care of yourselves and have a happy holiday season. I'm sure I'll talk to you next week. Don't forget, this Friday, Spider-Man No Way Home comes out, so that's exciting. I'm looking forward to that. But until next time, we'll talk to you again soon, and take care. So remember, believe you can, and you're halfway there. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Soul Forge Podcast. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we hope you'll tune in again next time. Remember that you can visit soulforgepodcast.com for all of our social media links, and don't forget to share the show with everyone you know. The Soul Forge Podcast is your best source for living your best life.
Think about it.
Hello, I'm Daniel Peter Hitch, author of the Bubbles the Pirate children's book series and the Connected Worlds Chronicles. You're listening to the Soul Forge Podcast. Keep forging your soul.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.